Hi, beloveds. How are you doing? Really glad to have you joining me today. So I wanted to talk about your career is your business. So a few years ago, I think it's been at least over 5 for sure, but there was a presentation I gave at a conference that was very well received, and I'll never forget it. And the title was Your Career is Your Business. So I was thinking about that presentation today, and I wanted to share with you some of the nuggets of wisdom that I shared with that group during the conference. And it was a really intense and great presentation. So I'm gonna do a part 1, which will be today, and then another day I'll do a part 2 so that I can share with you more of what that presentation was about. But in short, it is like what it sounds. Your career is your business. And what I mean by that is perceive your career as if it were a business. So for example, I'm going to use Domino's. Back when I was 15, I worked in Domino's Pizza during high school, and I was bringing home pizza all the time. You know, there'd be messed up orders and stuff. So anyway, I have some good fuzzies around Domino's, so we'll use that as an example. It was a good place to work when I was there. So anyway, Domino's Pizza, they put themselves out there. You know, they have commercials, people know who they are. You know, they don't just hide under a rock and hope people discover them. Okay, so how we translate this to our career is, you know, market yourself, put yourself out there. And think about this thing that most people call like an elevator speech, which is pretty much when someone asks you, you know, what do you do or who are you, you know, be very intentional about what you say, all right? And we talked a little bit about that in another video. So be intentional about what you say. That's a great opportunity to, you know, to let people know about you. And then if someone has need of your services, they may think of you, okay? And so also, in terms of marketing yourself, look at your social media. How are you describing yourself? What's in your description and your profile? You know, what labels are you attaching to yourself? So think about how you're putting yourself out there. Also, another way this translates to your career is think about, sorry, I was distracted. My spouse was just driving down the driveway. So anyway, think about your email address. What do you put in your signature line? Because your signature line is a great way to, again, showcase who you are and put yourself out there so that people kind of know what you do or have a link to your social media profiles. So Domino's Pizza, like many businesses, they put themselves out there. They make themselves you know, able to be found. No matter how great your work is, no matter how great your pizza is, if people don't know about it, they're not gonna buy from you. So it's important to get yourself out there. And what you put out there should be good, you know, so proofread and make sure it's really what you want people to know about you. And so again, when I was talking about, you know, if your work isn't good, it doesn't matter. Have a great product. You know, if I didn't like Domino's Pizza, I wouldn't buy it. Okay, no matter how much they put themselves out there, if it's not good, if it doesn't taste good, if the customer service isn't good, I'm not going to spend my money on it. And that applies to your career as well. If you know your work ethic isn't great, you know, if you know you kind of haphazardly do things, then no matter how you put yourself out there, it won't matter, because when people get a taste of that, they're going to be like, no, I don't think so. So it's important to actually have a good product that you're putting out there. Okay, so be mindful of the awesome results that you're going to provide to people, and make sure that's really clear and deliberate. And then another thing is testimonials. Okay, testimonials are important for businesses. Many times you'll see them on their websites. They put them everywhere. The way this can translate to your career are reference letters. Okay, so reference letters of you know, people you've worked for that say great things about you. And you know what? I understand that sometimes we get references that will be like a name and a number. That's not good enough. That is not good enough because, you know, I'm sorry, but people die, okay? That's life. People will die. And then you can't call them when they're on the other side, okay? So have a reference letter. And another thing is, people forget you. You know, you don't want to think about that people would forget you, wonderful you, but they may. You know, you don't know how many people come in and out through their lives, and someone calls them and they're like, I don't know who this person is, Or maybe they're caught on a bad day, and they're just grouchy, and so they're like, okay, yeah, I know who it is, and blah 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 blah, and they don't really do justice to their relationship with you. Those things can happen, and that's human, that's life. And so this is why I really like reference letters. They speak better, and they always remember you, so anyway, reference letters are good, and that's how we can translate, testimonials that a business may have with how we connect that to our career. And the other thing, if Domino's Pizza charged $1 for all their pizzas, they would go out of business. They would totally go bankrupt, okay? So don't undercharge for your services. Be very intentional about your salary. Be paid for what you're worth. If your current job won't increase your salary to something that's livable, something that makes sense for, what you bring to the table, you may want to renegotiate that. And it's hard to renegotiate those kind of things if you can't articulate why, you should deserve a raise other than you want one, because that's not going to work. Having a strong resume, cover letter, having a strong argument, having your documentation are all really important. And if that doesn't work, you may want to go somewhere else where you can get paid what you're worth and your value, okay? But don't undercharge, because you will go bankrupt. And it's so hard to start over. It's really hard. So don't go bankrupt. Businesses don't overcharge, okay? So you don't, businesses don't undercharge, so don't undercharge as well, okay? Otherwise, you're not gonna last, and it's really tough, and we know that, okay? The other thing is, when I talked about marketing yourself and putting yourself out there, when you look at like a business's website, they have copy on their website that talks about who they are and why and how they're different from others. And this is marketing copy. And the way that this can translate to your career is your resume, your cover letter, and again, your social media profile. So what is the marketing copy that you have for your career saying about you? Okay, so be intentional about that. It's not something just to type up real quick and then not look at. Be really intentional about that. And then another thing is branding. Okay, so when we look at Pizza Hut and Domino's and Papa John's and all kind of pizza places, they all sell pizza. But some of them are about cheap pizza. We're the cheapest pizza you can get. So if money is what you're looking for, here we are. Some are about organic ingredients. Some are about, whatever. They each have their own kind of thing. They all sell pizza, but it all tastes different. And they have different areas of focus, different emphasis. So, and that goes along with their branding. So think about that in terms of your own career, your own branding. Who are you? Who are you? And how do you show that? And how are you different from everyone else who makes pizza? How are you different from everyone else who does IT, everyone else who does human resources, everyone else who does ministry, everyone else who does administrative assistant work? Whatever it is, how do you do it differently? What do you do that's different? So be clear about that. So people who want exactly what you have to deliver can find you, okay? So distinguish yourself from others. So that's a bit about the branding piece. All right, so I said all this stuff. Some action steps that I would suggest that you consider as you move forward would be, number one, clean up your social media. Take a look at, you can look at my social media, look at my Facebook page, look at and see how I've done things, see how I've made it very clear who I am and what I'm about and how I can be of service. Okay, take a look at my LinkedIn profile as an example of something you may want to consider. Do your own thing, but if you need an example, feel free to check mine out. So do a social media cleanup, okay? Look at how you're putting yourself out there. If it's, maybe it's outdated, maybe it's not clear, maybe it's not enough. Think about if an employer were to look at your social media, look at your LinkedIn page or whatever, is that what you want them to know? Is it? Do you want to put more stuff out there? How do you want to do that? So in terms of action, do a social media cleanup, and then also practice how you introduce yourself to others. Write it down. That's what I did. When I started, I wrote down how I wanted to present myself. Hi, my name is Ebony and blah, 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 blah. I wrote it down, and then eventually I just kind of memorized it, and it just comes out natural now. Okay, so practice how you introduce yourself to others. And then another action item would be to get reference letters. You know, if you have a good relationship with an employer, someone said, oh yeah, I'll be a reference for you. That's great. And now follow up and get a reference letter from them. Okay, I don't like putting dates on reference letters because then, you know, it just dates it. But have it signed on, you know, company letterhead if possible. But go ahead and secure that reference letter. Reach out and say, hey, you know, would you mind doing a reference letter for me? And I can do a whole nother video, a whole nother training just on reference letters. It's not as simple as it can be, but I'm just, you know, just keep that in mind and ask for reference letters. And then another action step is reevaluate your salary. Okay, if you're really being paid under what you're worth, begin to put a plan together to renegotiate that. If that doesn't work, begin to put a plan to transfer to somewhere else where you can be paid a living wage, where you can be paid what you're worth and more. Because life is too short. It's not worth it. You're not meant to be here to be exploited and underpaid. So there are options out there, and it is, you know, it does take some time and energy to shift somewhere else if you need to put in an effort to negotiate your salary, but it's worth it. Okay. All right. So those are your action items. Social media cleanup, practice how you're introducing yourself to others, circle back with your references to get reference letters, and then don't go bankrupt. Fix your salary, okay, folks, if you need to. All right, so see you next time, and leave comments in the chat. Let me know if this was helpful for you. Any questions you have, I'm happy to answer them. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.